In chapter 6, we're introduced to the concept of management. And in this chapter, it mentions the key functions of a manager. That is to plan, to organize, to staff, to direct, and obviously to control. And so these important areas, these important functions have to be fulfilled by any manager in order for an organization to successfully implement what it wants to achieve in order to meet the demands of the environment. And so we accept that managers have this important role in our day-to-day activities to ensure that the ship is guided, and also that the organization is put back upon the right path if something were to go wrong. And that's kind of where we see in terms of the controlling aspect of it. So managers have to kind of build the ship, kind of get the ship together, guide it along its way, and ensure that it's doing what it needs to be doing in order to keep the organization afloat, in order to keep the organization going on a day-to-day basis. And so we recognize the importance of that. However, these types of functions, organizing, staffing, getting the people together, right, bringing them together, incentivizing, providing the motivation, and then control, looking at the numbers, looking at what we've been doing, changing certain actions. They don't seem to be as important, or they don't seem to be as admirable as some of the characteristics we've come to accept, or we've come to believe are necessary for the ideal of leadership. And so oftentimes you'll hear people compare and contrast a leader to a manager. So when we think about a leader, we often think about charismatic people, people with big personalities, people that have this great vision and are admired in the details. They're really, really good at getting people to follow them. Okay, oftentimes they're great orators, right? They're not these kinds of individuals that are stuck in the day-to-day grind. That's kind of how we compare leaders to managers. Managers are the ones that kind of do the day-to-day activities, right? The boring stuff. And the leaders are the ones that take charge and really, really push us to this uh, vision of where we want to be, this high, lofty ideal, if you will. And I'm here to tell you, because I think you might know this already, but if you don't, I'm kind of here to confirm that often this ideal that we have of what a leader is, or what a leader should be, is somewhat skewed by the media, by the romance, if you will, of business, by stories we hear about these influential, successful leaders, both in business and just general enterprise and personal life. And I'm here to kind of tell you that most times in the world of business, and also in the world of just general life, that leaders often are doing what managers are being asked to do. Okay, in this chapter, so leaders or managers are most times the same, and the activities that they do are the same. And to be a successful leader is not just about being able to spout this great, fantastic vision. You have to also do, if you want to call it this, the grunt work. You have to be able to have a specific plan and devise a specific strategy. You know what you want to achieve and how you want to achieve it. You have to be able to bring people together to figure out what type of resources or what type of people you're going to need in order to create some type of structure that is necessary to carry out that plan. You're going to have to direct, you're going to have to get people behind you. And yes, sometimes you do that through your speeches, sometimes you do that through your ability to influence, but also you do that through just your work, the examples that you set, and also the values. We talked about values a little bit in chapter 2 when it came with respect, I'm sorry, to business ethics and social responsibility. People are going to follow you not just because of your expert power, but also because of your referent power. And you're going to have to control. You're going to have to ensure that the things that you want to do, the things that you want to achieve, are actually coming about. And it's not just simply, hey, it seems like we're doing okay. No, are we doing okay? So I have to be involved in the numbers, if you will. I have to be involved in the details if I want to be a successful leader. So I wanted in this brief lecture to kind of bring those concepts together and to remind you that leaders and managers are not different beasts, although sometimes we've made it out to be that way. As I've said, leaders, successful leaders, often mirror the characteristics and traits and the functions that you see here in this chapter of a successful manager. Now, what I essentially separates a manager, a day-to-day manager, or manager that is mired in simply the short term, again, is that perspective. So to be a successful leader, you always have to have, as you plan, as you organize, as you direct, as you control, that long-term vision, that long-term strategy. So you don't get so caught up in what you're doing today that you don't see the relevance of it to some type of longer hierarchical plan, if you will. Okay, so that's really, really important. Your book talks about that, the difference between strategy, tactics, and operations. So as a manager, when you want to lead, you also want to recognize that your plans, your activities, your decisions in the short term or in the medium term have implications for that long term. And that kind of essentially brings you from just simply being a day-to-day manager to more of a visionary leader. Okay, so that's really kind of where you make that transition. It isn't just, oh, I have to be this extroverted, loud, emphatic person, and that makes me a great leader. No, it doesn't. What makes you a great leader is by using your managerial skills and tying those managerial skills to some long-term vision, some strategy that has implications beyond just simply that specific activity or that specific tactic at that moment. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. Thank you.